Rod, it's remarkable to think that the Test careers of yourself and Greg Chappell and Dennis Lilly started in the same team exactly 5 decades ago.
Yeah, and you know the most remarkable thing, I'm the only one with still got a full head of hair, even though I cut it short. Those two are getting real bald.
You're pretty happy about that?
I am.
It was a turbulent start as well. Bill Lawry became the first Australian captain sacked during a series, and Ian Chappell took the reins.
Yeah, and that was, I guess, the beginning of a new era when Ian took over, because shortly after that happened in 1970-71. It wasn't long before we went to England in 72, and I think we acquitted ourselves quite well there. And you know, Greg and Dennis were fantastic on that particular tour, and in fact fantastic their whole career. But it was good fun playing with those two guys.
What do you make of the trappings of the modern day cricketer that you didn't enjoy? I mean, you were rooming together, there wasn't a lot of money around, but I guess that did help with the camaraderie amongst the group?
Well, we didn't know any better, that was the other thing. We were just lucky that we got chosen. We were lucky to be playing a sport we loved, and we were lucky to be seeing parts of the world we otherwise would not have seen. So, you know, it was, I don't remember it that well, but all I remember was we had a hell of a good time.
Greg played 35 Ashes tests and averaged 46. It's an amazing record.
Well, he averaged over 50 in all tests, so that's even more amazing, really. He was a hell of a good player, no doubt about that. And you know, he probably could have played a few more test matches. I think he played 70 odd, but he could have played a bit more test cricket. I think he was certainly good enough.
The World Series rift, it was one of the biggest upheavals in cricket. What are your memories?
Memories of that basically is that we weren't treated all that well when we signed up. People didn't really agree with what we were doing, but I tell you what, there's a load of cricketers that are very pleased with what we did, because it really has shaped the future of cricket as we know it today. And I think there are a lot of players today that would be very thankful to us old buggers that actually took that plunge.
Paved the way for them, and now look at the results.
Yeah, it did. And it was our first go at professional cricket, and until then we were basically amateurs. So, you know, we enjoyed playing World Series cricket. Packer took a hell of a chance to do what he did, but it paid off for him in the long run, obviously. Otherwise he probably wouldn't have done it.
There are constant comparisons between Greg and Ian. What would you say about the two?
Totally different people, and still are. You know, I think the one thing that, if Greg had one regret, it would have been that he didn't play golf during his cricket years. Not like Ian, who doesn't play golf now, but Greg's so passionate about golf now. But it would have been great to see those two on the golf course battling it out then, because, you know, there was a camaraderie between the brothers, but I tell you what, there was competition between the brothers as well, and it would have been interesting to see how they would have gone on the golf course.
Dennis Lilly spoke on Greg's elegance as a stroke maker and as a batsman, but he said there was also a really hard, tough edge to Greg.
Yeah, oh yeah, no doubt about that. I mean, you don't become a great player unless you're tough, and Greg was a great player, so he had to be tough.
What are your great memories of the two or the three of you together?
Look, there's so many memories. You know, we went through some hard tours. We went through some times when, you know, things didn't go as we would have liked them to go. But I guess the things that we most remember are the wins that we had, because, you know, they reckon they celebrate well now when they have a win. Well, I can promise you no one celebrated better than we did, in our opinion. But we had great times together, and you know, we basically grew up together, I reckon, because we learned a lot about life together playing cricket for Australia.
And Greg had the amazing record of making a century on debut and making a century in his last test as well, a match-winning century at the SCG against Pakistan. That must be great memories. Yeah,
look, I mean, when it counted like that, I mean, and when he had a great sense of occasion, and you know, he batted number 7 in that first test match he played in Perth back in December 1970. hard to say that word, 1970 or that year. But, and then his final test at the SCG in 1984, I mean, he never looked like doing anything else but making 100. So, you know, great players can do that.
And as we celebrate the 50th anniversary of Greg's first test, do you have a message for him, something to share?
Yeah, well, Greg, just be thankful we got this far and we're still above ground, really, and we're still playing golf. That's the main thing, you know, because 50 years, it's just mind-boggling to think that it was 50 years ago that we actually debuted. And I certainly don't feel that much older. I mean, the body does, but the mind doesn't. So anyway, we'll wait and see what happens the next couple of years.
Fantastic.
All right.
Terrific. Thanks very much for that.